Welcome to Care Less with Carly, the podcast for people who are done playing by their roles. I'm your host, Carly Lynn, and each week we'll cut through the noise with real talk, bold conversation, and expert insights to help you trade perfection for purpose and live life on your own terms. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's very special episode of Care Less with Carly. I have yet to talk about love and relationships on the podcast. So for all of my listeners who are in the throes of dating or navigating the waters of love at the moment, you are in for a treat. I'm sitting here with Amy Nobile, a holistic dating coach and the author of 4 best-selling books that help to inspire and empower women at all stages of life, which I love. Amy is also the founder of Love Amy, and that is her coaching business that marries the technology of modern dating and a holistic view of human-to-human energy and connection.
Yay.
Welcome.
I'm so happy we made this happen. Thank you so much. And I'm proud of you. This podcast is amazing.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you. In reflecting now, so we were connected 2 years ago through our mutual friend, Julia. Shout out to Julia.
Who was on the pod and who was fantastic.
On the podcast, pretty much done. And when we were connected, I was not engaged and did not have a podcast. And I think at that time I had my own blocks, but we were connected more to just chat about life and different things.
Yeah, so we ended up bonding on lots of levels.
Yes.
And it's just so wonderful to see you blossoming in such amazing ways, personally and professionally.
Thank you. Well, as we were talking about, there is certainly a link between all areas of one's life. And I know you talk about that a lot with your clients, that you lead with energy, which is such a refreshing take in the space of love and relationships. Unfortunately, there's so much bad advice out there when it comes to dating and the narrative of wanting to be chosen and try to be everyone's cup of tea. And what I love so much about your ethos when it comes to dating is your energy is your greatest asset, and that will eventually lead you to open the right doors. And I am a testament to that. So
yes, and your energy's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, it's really interesting. It's funny, and we'll talk about so many things, I think, but when I first started this business, it was born out of just a need from friends and friends of friends after I had met Brett on Bumble. And I had a great time dating after my divorce. I was married for 20 years and a number of years ago spit myself out in New York City.
Brave.
It was brave. And I got so many horror stories. And, you know, it was funny because I have a nerdy social anthropology brain. I'm always wondering how people kind of operate and behave. And for me, it was a challenge I was excited to take. I was like, all right, I'm going to get out there. I'm just going to date my, face off and sort of see what comes from this and what can I learn. And so I kind of started to build the program I needed at the time, which was, I don't want this to be an interview. I want to have fun.
Sure.
I have no idea like how I can cut through the clutter and know whether I'm aligned with these people. I have no interest in doing a song and dance. And after like the 15th first date where someone looked at me and said like, I bet you were a cheerleader. And, and I literally remember going, oh my gosh, like
check please.
Exactly. And, it was just really interesting. I realized that not only is energy our biggest asset, but we tend to dim it down.
Sure.
Because we're mirroring and matching other people. As women in this culture, we are trained from birth to want to be chosen. Look at what we look at. We watch Disney, Disney. Someone from Disney is going to stalk me at some point and be like, please stop. But it's true, we're wearing princess costumes and we're really hoping to be anointed. And that is how we think it works. And then in 7th grade, we get butterflies and we think that's the feeling. I just want that feeling and I need to chase it. I'm convinced the divorce rate is so high because we've never been taught how to intentionally choose a partner. We know how to get into business school. We know how to get the job we want. We know how to pivot. We know how to travel. We know how to do lots of things. But this is arguably the most important choice of our lives. And we are literally, I have people, my clients are in every decade. I'll have a woman come to me at 65 years old and say, I have no idea what I'm doing. I hope he likes me. And it's not about that. This is about whether you're aligned as a human.
Sure.
And so yeah, so much more to talk about,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I want to talk about how you pivoted into it. I know. So you were married for 20 years,
yeah.
and then that relationship had its conclusion, and so then you were back in your. I know you said maybe on another podcast, but early 40s dating in New York City
Yeah.
with two kids.
Yeah.
So
2 pissed off kids. Yep.
two angry preteens, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
That's a tricky place to be.
Yeah.
So, did you set out to necessarily make this your then chapter 2 in terms of career,
No.
and what was that about?
Yeah, it was a natural breaking point. As I think in life, a lot of times it does happen like that. We think everything is falling apart, but what's happening is the universe is sort of reshuffling your life behind the scenes. And if you can get out of your own way and say, just let it happen.
Right.
Like I was leaving this marriage. We had been together 26 years.
Wow.
My very best friend of 25 years, we had written our books together. We launched a jewelry company together. That was falling apart.
Wow.
And
Huge changes.
yep, and I realized I had to leave that as well at the same time. And then there were some other dynamics in my life that I was sort of figuring out, but I literally left with nothing, ground zero,
Wow.
and got a tiny, teeny little one bedroom in financial district. And I remember having my best friend Katie over and just sort of clinking a glass. And I said, I am jumping off this cliff without a parachute. I have no idea what's ahead. And it's really, really scary. But looking back, it's also really beautiful
Mhm.
because it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to really take a step back and say, who am I now?
Right.
Instead of just catapulting into something you think you should be doing and dating. And I kind of did have to take a pause. And it's now a big part of the program where, you know, we don't take time to reevaluate. Who
Sure.
am I? What do I stand for? What are my core values? Like, who am I looking for from the inside out?
Right.
They're never going to come in the package I expect.
Mm.
So it was just sort of this reimagining of myself from the inside out before I could even take a step forward. And I had no roadmap because all my single girlfriends were telling me how awful the apps were. And they were telling me how awful single life was, that I had no like model. I had no mentor.
Sure.
So here I am, I'm dating, and I just decide, okay, I'm going to go on 15 first dates. That was my first line of, I'm going on 15 first dates. I literally put together a horrific profile on Bumble. I didn't write anything. I just started head first. And I actually put my professional life on pause because I knew I had to do something pretty quick, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't want to go back into PR. That was sort of that would have been a really, go-to move. And I didn't want to do it. And I just, again, faith. I had faith in the universe that something was going to present itself. And if I could just give myself a handful of months to get by, then it would show itself. And
Yeah.
so it did in the most magical way.
Wow. And now here you are. I mean, of course, it's always easier to connect the dots when you look back and you say everything had to happen in this way. But when you were going through that, when
Yeah.
you were in that cloud of transition
Yeah.
and you were now living in an apartment and the world around you looked very different, what were some of the ways that you coped in that time? Just in case somebody's listening and they're in that transition right now.
That's a really good question. I'm remembering my really good friend Kelly at the time who had gone through a divorce, and she's like 5 years older than me.
Mm.
And I remember she was the only friend I had at the time who had a really optimistic outlook on making the hard choice, leaving the marriage, not knowing where your next, paycheck was coming from. She told me she would couch surf for a while after her initial divorce. And here she is, so happy,
Mhm.
remarried with kids. And so she was sort of my anchor at the time. And I
Yeah.
just remember, like, it's important to have an anchor
Totally.
in hopefully it's in a person. I also had been meditating and I really amped that up at that time. I just realized I needed a routine. Like I needed to get up and know what the next hour was going to be, and why not make it an hour that was going to ground me.
Mm.
So I really dove in. It was TM at the time, and I, got an instructor, and now it's been lots and lots of years, but that ended up cracking open my spirituality and bringing that into Love Amy. So that I would dance every day. I know it sounds silly. I tell my clients to do
I think it sounds
this.
great.
You have a one or two songs and you dance even if you don't feel like it.
Katy Perry, Roar is mine.
Oh,
So I
oh my
get it.
gosh, wait, I have chills. That's always been my sort of like whenever something good happens.
That's yours. When I launched the podcast, that was my song.
Your
I listened to it this
anthem.
morning.
Oh my
But anyways,
gosh.
I love, yes, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, music, I talk a lot about energy. I talk a lot about vibration. Music is the fastest way to shift your vibration. Moving your body at all. So always, always, if you're in a bad mood or you're in a spiral, just move your body. Go for a walk. Leave your phone at home. It's stunning how you can have the worst day and you really think it's never going to get any better. And then the very next day, you kind of wake up and you go, I feel 10% better. It's okay. Just 10% is fine, you
Yeah.
know? Helping yourself by really just having that morning routine is the first literally baby step.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to think about had you just stayed where you were. Like,
That was the easier choice.
right. And I think for a lot of people, when it comes to relationships, people either can become so identified with staying where they are, whether that's single or
Mhm.
that's in the wrong relationship, because the unknown feels so scary. And I
Yeah.
love your story because it's a testament to what happens when you do take the leap and you do put yourself out there. And you were in a bit of a sink or swim situation. You were in a career transition, a
Mhm.
marital transition, dating again. Like you had to make it work and you did. So
Mhm.
now looking back, you've built this program, Love Amy, and you call yourself a holistic dating
Mhm.
coach. So can you explain to the listeners who might not know about your philosophy, exactly how you work with your clients? What
Yeah.
makes it different?
Yeah. So it's funny, when I first launched this business, it was completely pragmatic. It was born out of I had like 15 or 20 iPads in front of me, and I would log in as my clients and I would
On their apps.
on their apps
That's
and I
so
would sort of
funny.
ghost banter and it's people hate the banter. So that's kind of where I started.
Mm,
And then I would be in session with a client and I would start to really tune into their energy and realize like you can swipe all day long. If you are energetically blocked, you're not going to get anywhere.
right.
And an energetic block can be anything from, oh my gosh, I'm still harboring my parents' divorce. I thought I cleared it.
Mm,
It can be a hurt from a past relationship. It can be a friendship issue. It can be a comment your sister made to you about your attractiveness when you were 12.
right.
I'm not kidding. And so that energy stays stuck. And what happens is it sort of presents as a bit of a mask. And we a lot of times don't know we have it. We think we're good. We've gone to therapy. I hear it all the time.
Sure.
So I would have these sessions with clients and we would be swiping away and doing all of our things. And I would look at them and I would ask, like, there's a sadness. What's going on? And I would start to pull the thread and then realize, oh my gosh, this is energy work as much as it is swiping or teaching people how to put together a winning profile. I mean, I love all that stuff and it's easy and it's fun and it does make a difference. But if you're blocked, none of that is going to matter. So 100% of the people who come to me are blocked in some way. I
Mm.
think we all do it.
Yeah. And like you said, it's hard to know if it's you. What I love so much about your philosophy is I feel like you're like an energetic wing woman. And I
love
know
that. I
yeah,
love
like
that.
you are because you're kind of right there beside your client. Like you're not doing the work for them, but you're kind of like there being like, "Hey, why'd you do that?" What are some of the I mean, you've worked now with how many clients?
Hundreds. Yeah.
Hundreds.
Mhm.
What are some of the more common blocks that you see coming
Yeah.
up?
I mean, I think the number one, and this is going to sound a little vague, but it gets really nuanced, is somewhere along the line, we've learned that we're not quite lovable
Mm,
and that we have to be perfect in order to be
right.
loved. We are a culture of perfectionists, people pleasers, and performers as women. And that's pervasive. I mean, 95% of all women who fill out my intake form describe themselves that way. And so what that does is it literally blocks you from being authentic because you think if you make a mistake, no one's going to love you.
Wow.
It it allows you to approach dating as an achievement. I just want to get an A on this. I
Right.
want to get asked out by people I don't even really like.
Sure.
So unwinding that and that wanting to be chosen wound is what I kind of call it. It's cultural and it's deep. It goes generations
Right.
deep. So, you know, helping a woman unwind that, first identify it and then unwind it,
Hmm.
it takes a lot of introspection and bravery in work. And it's like an honor for me to work beside someone to sort of help them crack open. It's hard. There's so many tears, and helping someone to course correct deep people pleasing behavior is incredibly tough to do, but it's possible.
And it's probably the most worthwhile work you can do because, as we were talking about before, it's not just this one area of your life, it's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And the love you're willing to accept or the treatment way you're willing to be treated in one area of your life will carry over to your friendships, how you get treated at work, how you show up in spaces. So
Yeah.
doing that deep dive
Mhm.
and personal inventorying probably unlocks so much for people across all spectrums.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even in my personal experience, like, I mean, I met my fiance.
Yay. I
Um,
love that.
we met actually pretty recently after I moved to New York, which was just over 2 years ago. And we went out a couple of times. We had really lovely dates. He was such a gentleman. He was so sweet. He was so fun and hot. But I don't think we were ready to be each other's people in that moment. And we
Yeah.
both had other experiences. We traveled, we dated other people.
Yeah.
And then there was a coming back together.
I love
And
that.
something about that readiness, it just worked. Like, we were still the same people, but something had shifted where there was an openness and a willingness to be vulnerable and brave. And then it was so everything just started to unfold. And then once that loving, supportive, expansive relationship happened in my life, different things happened, personally at work, whatever. But then I was like, okay, let's do the podcast. Like, that was the next
Wow.
brave step.
Yeah.
And
Because you cracked yourself open.
yes. And
you
I
knew what the next step needed to be. I want to applaud you, and I want to talk about this because readiness, I have this whole 4 pillars ideology. Readiness is one of the 4 pillars, like 4 pillars of a house you have to have in order to move forward with someone. And readiness is one of the trickiest pillars to recognize in yourself and then in anyone you're dating. I love that you guys, even if it was sort of on a subconscious level, were doing this beautiful dance, kind of knew that the readiness maybe wasn't fully there.
right.
However, you communicated it. Brett and I also had that moment. And I do share it sometimes with clients because I feel like it's relevant. Everyone thinks it's like a linear process. You meet your person, you race off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And it's not, that's not true. That's not how it is. It gets messy and real. And if you're being honest about readiness, the only way that you're ever going to give that a chance is some space
Yeah.
to really reevaluate and miss each other and go do your thing. We did it too. And
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean it's not hard and excruciating, and fear kicks in because you think, what if I just made the biggest mistake of my life? But you can't sit next to someone and hope they're going to just magically be ready.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
it is. Readiness it is an interesting one. I mean, I think part of it is doing that work and being really clear with who you are and what you want in a relationship. I can totally relate to the idea because one, I've experienced it myself and I hear it all the time with friends, both men and women, wanting to get chosen by somebody that you didn't even like.
Yes.
It's almost like it's like akin to a job interview. You go into a
Yeah.
job interview, you don't want the job, but you're still upset that they didn't ask you back. Like,
yeah, and you feel inferior. And
Sure.
you feel like you did something wrong. What did I say? You get lost in it.
yeah,
And you forget.
yeah,
You forget that job wasn't aligned with you,
Right.
and that was a gift.
right. I think the other thing is that, especially as women, there feels like there's this timeline
Mhm.
where if it's not happening now, like it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that really messes with people
It
and
does.
makes them feel bad about themselves or that they're behind. And I've heard so many stories of people meeting the loves of their life later in life, and that timeline looks different than what the conventional timeline is. But would they have rather chosen someone just to stay on time or be with somebody who is that counterpart for them? So
Totally.
what's your thought on that?
It's really hard. Half my clients are in their 30s. It's really, really difficult to let go of the societal family and friend pressure of it all. But it's true. I have so many people who come to me having been married, having been in long-term relationships that were not aligned, and then find the love of their lives in their 40s, 50s,
Mm,
60s, and 70s.
yeah.
And for me, I didn't know that I was making a mistake when I married my ex. I was in my 20s. It
Right.
was a great fit then.
Would you also say, though, was he the right person for you then? And then you grew into different
He
people?
was in the zone for me then in a very I don't wanna say unhealthy way,
Oh, I see.
in a way that fit. Like, I was an ultra people pleaser, and he really, really needed to be
And he
taken
fit
care of like a
your,
child.
yeah.
And so anyone looking at it from the outside might say, "Oof, that's rough. He's gonna be a 3rd kid,"
Yeah.
which he was, and great guy,
Yeah.
very amicable,
But
but,
it got you to where you are now. So, but you
Totally.
wouldn't have been able to have this foresight then when you were getting married at
Exactly.
25.
Right. Hence why I'm so excited to work with people
Yeah.
now. Like, but you do just have to keep going, and there are lessons to be learned. Like, every step of the way, there are lessons. What did that teach me?
Mm,
And it really is the pressure is real. I try to reframe it for my clients. It's like, when you look back, exactly what you said. When you look back, would you rather have just plugged and played and put someone in this role and then deal with it later? Or do you want to wait? And maybe it's 5 years from now, and maybe you have a child on your own. Maybe they have a child and that becomes your child. Maybe you
mm,
adopt. Who knows, right? I do, and hopefully someone listening this will help. I do think it's important to, when you're in this, I want kids, I want a family, I want a husband, you have to rank it. Like, you really do. You have to prioritize it. And I do this with clients. And sometimes it's a surprise. I'm watching one of my clients get pregnant by herself right now. And it's amazing because it was so clear. It was so clear once she
yeah.
really sorted through things that she just wanted the baby. And then I've seen my clients find their partner afterwards.
Mm,
So you have to figure out what you
what's
really do
important.
want.
What I love about your philosophy, and I remember you encouraging me at different points in my dating, is to ask honest questions.
Yeah.
You don't want to be everybody's swipe right. You want to
Yeah.
be swiped on or invited out on a second, third, fourth date by somebody who's actually a long-term compatible fit for you. So I remember you encouraging me to ask more, not serious questions, but
Intentional.
more intentional questions. That's the
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
And I felt very brave and I did it. And I remember asking, not on the first date or maybe the second, but a couple of dates in, questions about family planning and religion and where you want to live and just things that are pretty big deal breakers if you're not on the same
Yeah.
page. And I just think that so many people ultimately end up wasting time
Yeah.
by
Because they want to
getting,
be chosen.
because you want to be chosen.
You
And
don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to see fear in someone's eyes
right,
across the table. If you
right,
say so tell me about your past relationships,
right.
right? If someone says, "Oh, this is our second date," that's a little early. It's like, you think you did something wrong. You got a bad grade. We're just not taught how to do this.
Yeah. And another thing that I love that you recommend with clients from our conversations is the early screener dates.
Yeah.
As a girl who loves doing hair and makeup, it's time consuming. And I think if you are dating with intention to
Yeah.
meet the person that you want to spend forever with, then you should be going on a lot of first dates.
Yeah. Short and sweet.
And a first date does not have to be, in my opinion, and I think yours, anything that you get totally dolled up for. You should go feeling confident about how you look. Of course, you don't want to show up schlubby if that's not how you feel most confident. But I just think that little tweak is such an energy saver. Like, you're investing almost more time getting dolled up to be in front of somebody who you're not even sure if you like them yet.
Of course, because now it's 5 hours of a Saturday night where 5 minutes in, you're not even going on a second date. Now you're getting angry. You're getting a little resentful. You're not yourself. you might as well leave.
And sometimes they ask you to split the check.
And sometimes, and we all know how I feel about that.
Yes.
I love chivalry.
Yes,
and
yes. Amy is queen of chivalry.
Yes.
So, yes.
Unpopular opinion, don't really care.
And you work, I know, predominantly with women, but
mostly.
also
I do love my male clients,
Yes,
but yes,
yes.
mostly women.
Okay, I have some questions that I want to ask you in a little bit of like a fun lightning round. I'm going to call it Ask Amy.
Oh, I love this.
So these are some common dating myths I want to get your take on. So you can either agree, disagree, and give some context, or just like agree, disagree. Okay. You'll just know when you meet the right person.
No.
Disagree. Okay.
Disagree.
Opposites attract.
Sometimes.
You need to play hard to get.
No, never, ever. Please, God.
Why? Can you talk about that one? Because that's a biggie.
It's a game. Anytime we play games, we're not being our authentic selves. We have been taught via that book, The Rules, via Sex and the City, we've been taught that we have to play games, that we have to act a certain way, be a certain way, string someone along, not respond too quickly. And that's all just BS. As long as you're yourself, respond right away. Don't play those games.
What about on the other side, though? Because then there is that line. Like, you don't want to be, I don't want to say too available, or a double texting or triple texting.
So we don't chase.
Okay, we don't chase.
We do not chase.
Okay.
So we like chivalry. That means at the beginning, you're not initiating texts. You're not planning the dates. You are responding and excited, but you're not chasing. You're not double texting. You're not saying, hey, listen, we've talked for a while. Do you want to go out? Now, some small percentage of my clients like that. Great. If you want to be the aggressor, that means you're planning the date. It's more masculine energy for you. If that's you, then go for it, right? But most of my clients want to be courted.
Okay. I want to come back to that, but I have a couple more. Dating apps don't work.
I love this one. They absolutely do work.
They do work.
They do work.
Raya, Bumble.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
All the good ones are taken.
I mean, I know that they are not.
These are a combination of ones I research and ones that I've heard from friends in my network.
I hear it too.
There's a perfect person out there for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yes, I agree with that too. Love should be effortless.
Interesting. I do not believe that relationships on the whole, if you're aligned with someone, are hard work every day. I don't believe that. I think if you are aligned, you will, day to day should be joyful and fairly easy. Of course, you're going to come up against some real challenges. It's when you're not aligned that relationships are hard every day.
Yeah, that's a good moment of reflection probably for listeners, maybe if they are.
If it feels so hard and you're just constantly plugging away, and then you are very likely misaligned. It's not an aligned partnership.
Okay. Okay, so that's it for Ask Amy.
I love that.
But going back to the chasing, so the term anxious attachment, right? And that feeling of, okay, I just went out with somebody and I want to now text them. Okay, they haven't texted me back. What's some good advice that you could give to somebody who's maybe like waiting for their phone to light up right now? What do they do with their hands while they're
literally sit on them? So anytime we're looking for happiness outside of ourselves is a time for reflection. How can I get that same feeling within myself? And I know that's deep, and I know that feels really hard, but that's where my spirituality comes in. I'm not religious, but spirituality is simply realizing that the voice in your head that's telling you, oh my gosh, if he doesn't text me, I'm not going to be okay. That's not real. That's just your voice chattering away. As long as you can recognize, wow, okay, that voice, there she goes again, right? Give it a different name if you want.
Right.
There she goes. You're the consciousness sitting watching that voice go crazy. You have the choice to say, not right now, girl. We're not doing that. When my voice, and I've worked really hard on this, so I don't have a ton of that anymore. But when I do have my negative voice in my head, I have the image of Miranda from Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, gosh,
and she pops
so
in my head and she says, not now.
That will be all.
Not now. And I
That's
laugh.
so good.
And I laugh out loud and I say, oh my gosh, okay.
That's so good.
So if anyone listening can just a little bit of spirituality here, realize that chatter is just chatter.
Yeah.
You're okay. You're lovable. You were born lovable.
You're safe.
You're safe. You can turn to a girlfriend. You can go do something that fills you with joy, but you don't have to rely on someone to text you for you to be lovable, for you to be okay.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, I forget which book I read it in, but mine is just stop. Capital letters, stop.
Stop.
Like
I love
if
that.
I can feel the spiral, it's stop and redirect. Like
Yes.
change activities.
Because it's your consciousness coming in
Yeah.
saying, whoa, whoa, because we get so caught up in the voice in our head, we think it's us and we think that we are going to take that direction. So how many times a day do we all do it? You look in the mirror and you go, that outfit sucks.
Yeah.
So you go change, right? We think that voice is us. It's actually not. So if
Right.
we can learn to just like ignore it most of the time it's really, really off
Yeah.
beat because it's just pulling on past experiences. So a big part of moving through dating is realizing when you're, just following that voice.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one other question I wanted to ask you. Okay. So dating, and I know since you've started Love Amy, the apps have been part of your program, but dating has changed so much. When you think about you used to like date the person on your street corner,
Yep.
right? My grandparents met at a custard stand when they were 16.
Oh.
They were married, I think, by 20. That's where we came from, and this is where we are now.
Yeah, I met my ex at work.
Right.
And
that's what you did.
Yeah,
and that's what you did.
that's what
But
you did.
now we live in this world with apps and texting, and maybe they DM'd you and they liked your, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And now we even have AI coming. So what's your view on how technology is changing relationships? Do you think we are moving closer together as a result, or do you think it is making us more disconnected?
Yeah, I think we are becoming more disconnected
On the whole.
because we're more individualized and we're looking at our phones all the time in real life. I can't tell you how many coaching sessions I'll do at a coffee shop, and the homework is to go talk to someone. And it is incredibly terrifying for my clients to go strike up a conversation. And I have tips for that. We have to start to realize that we are just humans trying to connect without expectation. So my advice is let's drop the dating goal. Can we start to make micro connections in real life? So put your phone down, go on a walk for 30 minutes and go into your local drugstore, go into your ice cream shop, go into your coffee shop and just compliment someone's hair.
Right.
Look at someone and say, oh my gosh, what are you reading? I'm looking for something to read. If you are you see a cute person in a coffee shop, you say, you know what? You look like you know what you're doing. Is this coffee good? I don't care what you say after. You look like you know what you're doing is gold because the number one thing that anyone wants in their dating life is to be seen and heard.
Right. Right.
You look like you know what you're doing.
And then whatever after
then-
is fine.
Yeah, what should I do this weekend in New York? You look like you know what you're doing. I mean, it can be anything. I don't care what you follow up on. But we have to get in the habit of, I like to call it flirting with life.
Yeah.
It's that like energetic pull that's like smile at strangers. It's like a spiritual treasure hunt for me, to give someone a compliment. That's great homework. Compliment one stranger. Maybe one a day is too much, one a week.
And it's such an accessible thing to do.
Yeah.
And it signals openness. I know that, of course, energy is what we're leading with. It just signals openness. Like, I'm a human and you're a human, and we're both alive in this world of however many billions of people. We're both here in this elevator together. Like, I like your sneakers.
Yes.
And what's so special too is I think growing up, my very sweet dad would always talk to everybody. And we used to make fun of him as kids, of course.
Oh, I love that.
But now I find that I do that too. And my fiance Paul will sometimes joke, like he's like, that's such a he's from Austria, but he will say like, you're so like so bubbly, outgoing. And I realize that it's a way to make a micro connection with somebody, to smile at somebody.
And it feels good.
It feels good. And I've been also on the receiving end where I'm not having a great day or a great moment and somebody smiles at me. And all of a sudden I take that smile as like a gift. And now I feel better about the day. So I love that that's homework.
We're all connected. I mean, at the end of the day, and I'm a geek about near-death experiences and what happens when we die and all of that. I'm just super geeky about it. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you did for a living. It doesn't matter how much money you had. I mean, any hospice nurse, there have been studies done. They all say everyone on their deathbed, it's all about the connections. It's all about love. And those micro connections mean more than you even know.
Right.
It can change your day. It can change someone else's day. It can restore a little bit of faith. All right, having a really hard day, but I just smiled and they smiled and it's okay. I'm going to just put one foot in front of the other, you know?
I do think that psychologically that does signal something that feels safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like we live in a world where we are unfortunately bombarded by headlines that are often really scary. There's a lot of fear mongering. And I feel
Totally.
like these micro connections bring you back to where your feet are. Like,
Yeah,
or
exactly. It grounds you and put the phone down just for 20 minutes. I promise it'll be okay. It'll be
yeah.
waiting for you. And so my clients have a really hard time with this, but once they start going on walks every just a couple times a week even, where you leave your phone and then you can make eye contact with someone and you
Mm,
can smile and you can say hello, and it really shifts the whole energy of your day, your week, your month, and it starts to build. And then you can sort of take that energy into dating too, you
mm,
know? There's one other thing I wanna mention because I just started having clients do this, and it's really, really fun, is because we're such people pleasers and performers, what happens is we end up, when we're dating, leaving the person across from us feeling like they're not sure where they stand with us. Because we're just trying to get a good grade, but we're not being vulnerable, we're not open enough. And so I love the idea of a micro favor. So there's something called the Ben Franklin effect. This is research, this is real science, where when you ask someone to do a favor for you, it's a psychological switch where they think subconsciously, if I'm doing this favor, I must like this person, right? And it's just very, very subtle. So if you're on a date, you literally can say, "Oh my gosh, can you hold my handbook? I just have to tie my shoe." It can be anything, right?
mm,
Just something really, can you button this for me? And what happens is it's like the energy kind of shifts. It's a bonding moment. It's just a really micro bonding moment. But the idea of a micro favor, I know it's terrifying for everyone listening who's a people pleaser because you don't know how to do that,
right.
but just start to practice it. It's fascinating.
Right. I could see a people pleaser being like, well, what if they don't do it? Or what if they say no? Or what
Or
like
it just feels uncomfortable. Like it
yeah.
really feel like I have people pleasers as clients who they can't even text someone, "Oh, you're so sweet."
Right.
That feels really
That's
uncomfortable.
vulnerable and
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try it out, people.
Um, okay. Turning back to you. Oh, actually, no, wait. I have a question from an audience
Oh,
member.
yay.
And
I love
I
this.
love including audience members. There's so much talk online about how to get into a relationship. These are all the
Mhm.
things you have to do and the steps. Great. What are the most important ingredients for keeping and growing a lifelong relationship? Because to your point that there's not really a lot of advice or information on how to pick the right partner, I also don't feel like we're equipped with how to grow and nurture a relationship. So I would love to get your thoughts.
Couldn't agree more, couldn't agree more. And so to keep and nurture a relationship, one of the biggest, I think, kind of mantras to have is, we get to do this.
Hmm.
We get to do this. This is a gift. Almost every morning, I know this is super geeky, but almost every morning, Brett and I, we sit up in bed and before we meditate, we literally start giggling. We're like, oh my God, we get to do this. This is so fun. And there's a gratitude behind that. So having gratitude for this human that you're connected with and really never taking it for granted. I mean, that's what breaks a lot of people is that they start to take each other for granted. And if you can instill that gratitude, and it can just be in small ways, thank you so much. I mean, just that respect and so gratitude, I think, is amazing.
Hmm.
Also, coming back to your core values, like what are the core values that really are the glue? Like I would say, have your fiance, like Paul, have him take. I'll send it to you, and anyone listening, by the way, DM me on Instagram, and I'll send you this core values quiz.
Okay.
It's really fascinating. Have him take it,
Okay.
and then you take it, and see. It's okay if they're different, but see what your top core values are.
Oh, cute. We'll do that tonight.
Yeah.
Homework.
And so for us, I was just talking to Brett about this. So for us, it's, gratitude almost, I think, is probably number one. It's respect. So just having a deep respect for each other. And that kind of trickles down into like, how was your day? I really want to hear about it. And I want to sit down like every night, like there's no phones. We put them down. It's like we have our time and having that like real, real focus on each other. I think integrity. For us, it's a really, really big one. It's just having that, it goes back to having that respect as humans for one another. But I do think not taking each other for granted
Yeah.
is probably one of the biggest ones.
Right. And I could see how it would be easy to, especially after years and years of being with the same person, not continue to treat your relationship like the most important thing in your life, but it really is.
It really is. And also, John Gottman talks a lot about this. It's you can spend a lifetime being curious about your partner. I
Right.
think we're really good at where I'm trying to help people get good at being curious on dates. So you're learning, learning, learning. Then it stops
Mm.
after the wedding and you get back and you're kind of in your real life and then stress and then maybe kids. We have to keep asking questions of each
Right.
other. It's kind of stunning to me.
Right.
How you have the same conversation 18 million ways. Well, no wonder people grow apart and no
Yeah.
wonder people get bored with each other. And some shiny object seems really cool. Someone who's asking you questions and interested in you at work or something.
Right.
It's like, bring that home, like constant. You'll never, ever run out of questions.
Right.
You know?
Right. We are ever evolving as
Yeah.
humans. I mean, every day feels different.
And do novel things. Like, even if it doesn't have to be constant, but like once a year, go on a trip that's a little like where
Somewhere a
you're
little
learning to cook
different.
together or take a course together. Or every year we go on this bike trip and it is so out of my
We
wheelhouse.
didn't get to talk about it. You
I
survived.
survived this year. We're in Sicily. And it's so funny because it's just I keep going on them and they're really, really, really hard for me. They're type 2 fun. And I always have a meltdown on day 2 and Brett pretends he doesn't remember, but I do every year. And then at the end we're laughing. We have the funniest stories of
Yeah.
Amy's meltdown and how then I biked 170 miles or whatever. And I'm
You
like,
go, girl.
"Whoa." And then I don't get on a bike again for a year. But again, that for us is one of our treasured, kind
Yeah.
of yearly trips.
There are small ways. There really are,
Mhm.
like listening to the same podcast and talking about it,
Yeah.
or the way that Paul and I talked about White Lotus when it was on. We
I love
had
that.
like full text chains going just about White Lotus. We still have jokes about White Lotus right now. Like there are
That's so
small
sweet.
ways. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, you can also throw yourself on a bike for
I mean,
100
yeah,
plus miles if you really want to build a core memory. But
You don't have to do that, trust me. But I always say, for another core value that we share is humor.
Hmm.
And humor can be a core value. It's like I have people ask on early dates, like, what's your brand of humor? And if someone looks at you cross-eyed and goes, what do you mean? And they're just not even willing to go there.
Yeah.
If humor's absent and you're on date 3, 4, bail.
Right.
If it's important to you.
Right.
Like for us, it's the glue.
Right.
And for many couples, I think it's the glue.
I think humor is really important. I
And
think
to get each other, to get that kind of whatever humor is your humor.
right. I actually spoke with a friend about this recently, that if you have to explain a joke that you made to somebody, you will probably almost definitely not feel understood in that relationship. Like one time is
I
okay.
think that's fair. I think that's
But if
fair.
you're constantly explaining why you thought something you said was funny to your partner, like
Yeah.
I think that's going to get old.
And another trait to look for is really, and I really love this one, is this person an expander for you? Or does this person make you kind of feel like you're shrinking or dimming down?
Oh, that's such a good one.
And it's such a good one. And that can be a deal breaker, and it should be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
We all want someone in our lives as our life partner to challenge us sometimes or make us think a little bit differently or know us so well that know when we're not reaching our full potential or helping us brainstorm. All positively, no, negative in there, but are they, helping? Do you want to run to them and say, like, help me brainstorm? Because I really respect your opinion and I love your brain.
Yeah.
Versus someone who's sucking the life out of you every day.
Right. Even just the environment of the
Yes.
partner that you want, the partnership that you want, I think should give you the ability to expand in all of your goodness and be a complement to that. They don't necessarily have to have the same traits as you.
Yeah.
They don't need to be your spiritual mirror, but
Often they're not. That's okay.
and I actually think in a way that's, I know you said sometimes. When I said do opposites attract, you said sometimes. I think that's something that I've come to really appreciate, is that you're not always looking for somebody who's just like you. You're looking for somebody who can be a complement to you.
I think that's right. And I think a lot of times we're looking for someone who has all the same things that we do.
Right.
Because it's all we know.
Right.
And that I don't agree with. It's just, what traits are we looking for that are deal breakers? So if you're an optimist and this person is clearly a pessimist,
That's tough.
then those opposites will not work. So you have to know what your deal breakers are, what someone's, default emotion is. So there are deeper things to really look for.
Yeah.
It's not all created equally. If
Yeah.
someone's, loves being on a bike all the time and you don't, like maybe that's okay and it'll push you. But we're talking about the deeper stuff.
And that's also once a year.
It's once a year.
No more, no less.
Yep. Check.
So before we close, I want to turn it back to you. When you're thinking about the impact that you want to leave, not just as a coach or as an author, but as you, as Amy, what do you want your legacy to be?
That's such a heavy and deep question. I think if I can help people carve a roadmap to help them step into their power, help them really realize how lovable they are, that's it.
Yeah.
That's really it.
That's such a good one. Okay, this is a silly one to end on, but maybe not silly if it's helpful. Okay, so I saw on your website that you are self-proclaimed queen of banter, which is a woman in my own heart. So to end, what's a workable opening one line that my listeners can use to spark up their next conversation, either in person or on the apps?
Okay, I think both. I think for online, brainstorm and come up with a couple of openers that you love. Like if you love podcasts, ask someone, what's your favorite podcast these days? And then at least you're going to get some information. For me, when I was on the apps, I would always ask, what's your favorite cozy brunch spot in New York City? Because I just wanted ideas.
And it also signals something that you like.
Yeah. And then maybe that was, oftentimes that was sort of like suggested for the date,
yeah,
which is cute. And then as just to repeat myself, but as in real life, it's, hey, you look like you know what you're doing.
Right.
I also like what you said, like love your shoes. If you can compliment them on something, it's great. It's just, again, that warmth and validation that so many of us are too scared to show, that is the connective tissue.
Yeah, I love that. So that's the challenge for everybody today. Yeah. Go give someone a compliment.
Yep, could be anyone.
Give anybody a compliment. Make someone's day. You'll feel good. It's a win-win. Or tell them they look like they're someone who knows what they're doing. And just to end, where can people find you? Where can they connect with you? If somebody would like to enroll to work with you in your 4-month program.
It's super simple. It's loveamy.co. So go to my website. All my stuff is there. You can go to Instagram, love.amy.nyc. And again, anyone listening, if you want the core values quiz, happy to send it to you. And this is amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And thank you all to our listeners. I hope you learned something very special about love today. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to Care Less with Carly. If this episode resonated with you or reminded you to stop living by someone else's rules, I would love to hear about it. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, leaving a quick review means the world and helps more people find the show. If there's a guest you'd love to hear from, DM me their name at Careless with Carly on Instagram or drop me a comment. I'm always looking for powerful, honest voices to bring into this space. Until next time, you got this. Keep caring less about what others think and more about what makes you come alive.